Welcome. This short video will show you how to use Arbor, the tree classification tool, with your own data, making a test uh, collection and a training set in order to do the sort of thing that you would do if you might be teaching about machine learning. So here's CODAP is open, and I'm going to drag in Titanic passengers.csv in order to get this familiar data set. And we're interested in whether people survived, and we think that this might have something to do with the sex or age or some other things, but we know sex is involved. Now, at this stage, we want to get the tree tool in, and the best way to do it at this point is to import it. And you go to URL and you type in or paste the URL, which is codap.xyz/plugins/arbor. So when I click import, I now have this decision tree tool. Now, the target attribute is survived, and 1 means you survived, and 0 means you did not. I'm actually going to recode that using this technique of dragging to the left so that I see the set of all survived people and the set of all unsurvived people. And rather than 1 and 0, I want to um, change this to living and dead. And I'll put it back. And now we have living and dead. And I'm going to drag survived into here to say I'm going to predict survived, and positive is going to mean survived is living. I can change that by swapping this. If I close this now, positive survived is dead, but I'm going to go back to make it survived is living. And we see that 500 out of the 1,309 survived, which is a base rate of 38.2%. Now, we want to use sex as the next attribute in, and I drag that to here. And now I see that 19% of the males survived and 72% of the females survived. So I'm going to classify this. And I can say, oh, we're going to classify these as living and these are as dead. This is our prediction. Now, at the moment, we've used the entire data set. But what we really wanted to do is to use only a fraction of the data set. So here's the trick. I'm going to go to plugins and I'm going to go to data moves and use Choosy. Choosy is a tool that lets you do things, including, well, I'll just show you tagging cases. One thing you can do with Choosy is you can choose which attributes appear. If you have too many attributes, that's not what we're talking about here. We're choosing tagging cases. Oh, first of all, let me make sure, what data set am I looking at? Titanic passengers, that's correct. I'm going to go to tag cases, and I'm going to do a random tag, and I'm going to have group A and group B, and I can decide what proportion of people are going to be in which group. I'm going to make 30% be my test set, and um, the other 70% training, and they will choose them at random. And so now I'm going to say apply tags. So I go here and I click apply tags. Yay, tag is an attribute in collection cases. It should say, yeah, collection cases, because it says cases. If I drag over to the right, I see, oh, look, these have been tagged training and test. Excuse me. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to drag tag to the left and make this new collection so that I can actually, in the table, select, for example, the test cases, and I'm going to go to the eyeball and set them aside. So we will use only the training cases. Now, instead of 1,300 and something, I have a smaller proportion of cases. So this says 345 of 911 have survived, and of the females, 71% survived. Of the males, 18% survived. And this tree still looks pretty good to me. Let's imagine I had done this thing with Choosy before. That's fine. This is all I would see. Okay, and so now, just for recording things, I'm going to export this data. That's this button. And now we see that I'm predicting survived, and my misclassification rate is 22%. Sensitivity is 68.4. You could devise other measures of the goodness of the tree, but that's what we have for this. Now, suppose I want to use this tree and see what it's like with just the test data. I've already classified these as training and test. I'm only looking at training. In order to look at test, I go back to the eyeball. I restore the 398 cases that I set aside. And now all these tests are selected. I can go here and I can set aside the unselected cases, or I could change the selection to training, but I'll stay with test. Set aside the unselected cases. So then we will only have the test cases remaining. And we see 155 out of 398. Oh, look, 103 out of 136, 75% of these test females survived, and 19.8% of the test males survived. That means it's similar numbers, but let's record them. And so we see the misclassification rate went from 0.22 to 0.21. Sensitivity is still just about the same. We have not done anything that would reveal, for example, if we had gone too far with our classification and overfitted our model. The only purpose I have here was to show you how to use Choosy in order to set up a test and training set. Just while we're here, let's go ahead and we'll restore all of them. We'll record them again and see we've got zero point 0.2 in the whole data set. No surprises there. Okay, that should show you what you need to know in order to get started. And I will see you again next time.